What's up, fight fans? This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I have some new news concerning Tony Bellew. Tony Bellew says that Anthony Joshua can't win in a Dillian Whaaaat fight. Whoa. Tony Bellew has weighed in with his thoughts on a potential rematch between Anthony Joshua and Dillian Whaaaat. Whaaaat was working as part of the broadcast team for Joshua's successful comeback against Jermaine Franklin. And when asked about the fight on the DAZN boxing show, Bellew explained that he felt AJ would be in a can't-win situation if he was to fight Whaaaat next. And this is what Bellew had to say. He said, "I think it's a big domestic grudge match, but I think AJ is in a no-win position. When he goes into the fight, he can't win unless he blows him away in 2 rounds, in which is very hard to do because Dillian Whaaaat is a problem for anyone in the world apart from Tyson Fury. For AJ now, if he takes Dillian, it would take a brutal and ruthless performance for him to come out shining." Those are the words of Tony Bellew. Well, what is Tony saying? He's saying, well, hey, if he wins, he's going to have to dig deep, and it's going to have to be a very tough and brutal and ruthless fight. Well, it might be that anyway, Tony. To counterpunch Tony Bellew, it might be that way anyway. Dillian Whaaaat, I think, would fight Anthony Joshua probably harder. And if you think the Jermaine Franklin almost near riot altercation was something, wait until you get a hold of the rematch with Dillian Whaaaat and Anthony Joshua. Okay? We remember the first fight with Dillian Whaaaat and Anthony Joshua after the first round. And Whaaaat thought that Joshua hit him after the bell deliberately, and he went at Joshua and almost started a riot in that ring, and about 30 people jumped in that sucker to break that up. You guys remember that, right? Well, I think it's going to be like that, but plus more, and it may be like that each and every round because Dillian Whaaaat does not care for Anthony Joshua, and the grudge match locally is very, very high and very, very rare, okay? That's like some Amir Khan / Kell Brooks stuff, you know. But Tony Bellew, in his own words, was saying, well, hey, unless he blows him away in 2 rounds, which is very hard, Dillian Whaaaat is a problem, which means that what he saw from Anthony Joshua wouldn't be enough to take on Dillian Whaaaat. But I keep reminding people, Jermaine Franklin, fighting Jermaine Franklin, Joshua fighting Jermaine Franklin in that performance, every performance is personal, okay? It's personal, and it's almost like mating, okay? You can't say, man, it's almost weird if you look at a fight. A fight is only between 2 people, okay? You throw somebody else in there. Well, man, based on what we saw against Jermaine Franklin, Dillian Whaaaat ain't Jermaine Franklin. You think Anthony Joshua is going to fight Dillian Whaaaat like Jermaine Franklin? No, he's not. You know, now there should be things that Dillian Whaaaat should look out for, which that's anybody. I think if I'm Dillian Whaaaat and I know I have problems with uppercuts, make sure Anthony Joshua don't grab the back of your head and pull it down and belt you with a right uppercut. Because, I mean, that's what he did with Jermaine Franklin along with a lot of other people. Well, with Usyk and a lot of other people he's done that shit with. Okay, let's just call it a buck. But I think that fight would be big anyway. You know, and I don't know. I mean, it's just too many unforeseen circumstances when you're dealing with Joshua and Dillian Whaaaat again. Me personally, I wouldn't want to see it right now because there's much more fights we should see. I'd rather see Joshua Joyce than see Joshua Whaaaat. I would rather see Whaaaat versus Charles Martin because it's a different fight. Bars. So at the end of the day, man, like, if those dudes did fight, it would be very controversial. It would be a real hard, brutal fight. It will be something like Dillian Whyte taking on Derek Chisora again. But then, you know what we would find out about Joshua, though? Which maybe Tony was kind of trying to say, and not really, because he's really good friends with Joshua. Well, I think what Tony Bellew was trying to say is Dillian Whyte will push Anthony Joshua, and then we would really see how timid he really is. All that jabbing and grabbing stuff, I don't think would really work with Dillian Whyte. And then we would see one guy trying to fight another guy that's really not trying to fight. He's trying to get off first and grab to control the action in the fight, which people are going to hate. And then people are really going to see Anthony Joshua for who he is. Because there's no way you can fight your rival like you fought your last fight. And if he does fight Dillian Whyte like he fought Jermaine Franklin, you know, if he wins or loses, people will lose more respect for Joshua, or lose respect for Joshua because he's fighting like that. Because that's not the Joshua that we can remember. And if he can't resurrect that old Joshua, and he's fighting like that, throwing one punch at a time, throwing a jab and a right hand, and then he grabs, you know, or misses a jab and cuffs and locks onto him and not allow engagement of letting the leather fly. We're talking about British fans, okay? This is going to be a British fight. This shit's not going to be in Chicago or New York. It's going to be in London, okay? So if Joshua goes in to try to fight Dillian Whyte like Jermaine Franklin, and he's just stuck on that style because he's reluctant to exchange because something happened in that Andy Ruiz fight. Because if that happened, it won't matter what the hell was wrong with you. That means Andy Ruiz changed your perception of what you think fighting in combat sports is. You don't have that recollection no more because it scared the shit out of you in that fight. It was snatched from you with that left hook, the punch from the gods. That type of a way. And so if we do see Joshua fighting like that, it won't matter what trainer you have. It don't matter who you bring in. Anthony Joshua is a shot fighter or a change fighter that nobody would really want to keep seeing. That's it. But anyway, you guys tell me what you think of Tony Bellew saying that Anthony Joshua can't win in a fight against Dillian Whyte. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunch. Peace.